Hello. So in this video, what the task is that I want to take some input from the user, and the input will be the user's age. And in case the age is less than 18, I want to print child. In case it's 18 or above, I want to print adult. And let's say if it's 60 or above, I want to print senior citizen. So the first thing we need to do is, let's make a variable. We'll call it age, and this is actually known as a variable declaration, and this is just something that you should know. In case I use the word declaration, it's this part, and if I do something like age equals 0, that's called an initialization. So these are some terms that you should know, but let's just go ahead and print a message which says please enter your age. And then let's just do a scanf with a person D, and let's just write ampersand age here. So now we've taken input from the user, and we have the input in the age variable. So now how do we do these three parts of the decision control? So we are going to discuss different ways to do it, and the first way to do it is putting an if inside an if. You'll see what that means. So let's just first check whether age is less than 18. If it is, we just need to print child. And if it's not, now what we need to do is again we need to check if age is less than 60. So let's just do that. So this is perfectly allowed. I can actually have an if inside an else block. I can even have an if inside the if block itself. So here let's just check if age is less than 60, and I don't need to check if age is greater than 18 here, because I've already checked that here, and the only reason it could have ended up in the else block is because age is not less than 18. So here let's just print adult, and as an else to this if. So remember that this else corresponds to this if, and it's actually a very good practice to keep your programs indented. And indentation basically just means using a tab space. So although I can write a statement here and that would be perfectly valid, it's a good practice to just hit tab once and then start writing whatever statement you have. And the tab space may vary. Sometimes you may have a width 2 tab space, a width 4 tab space, etc. But just remember to hit tab. It's a very good practice. So coming back to where I was, this else corresponds to this if right here. And what I've checked till now is that age is not less than 18, and age is not less than 60 either. So here I just need to do a printf, and I need to print senior citizen. Um, and let's just go ahead and try out this program now. So I do a gcc decision ladder.c dash o decision ladder.exe. um, Alright, it's actually decision ladders.c. So let's just do that, and then I'm going to do decision ladders, and it says please enter your age. Let me just actually enter my age, which is 20. If I hit enter, it says adult, and we can actually try this for a couple of different values. So let's say I enter 13, it says child, and let's say I enter something like 78, it says senior citizen. So this is working perfectly fine, but what if I told you that I want you to do something like print child, and then let's say instead of even child, I can have you print um, infant, then child, then let's say teenager, then I say young adult, then I say adult, then senior citizen, and let's just say I ask you to print dead as well, over 100 years of age or something. But what I'm basically trying to point out is that in such a case, it's going to be a lot of nesting. So it's going to be uh, an an if inside an if inside an if, and so on, and it's going to be very confusing for you to handle. So what if we just get rid of this part right here, and what if we do something like this? Let's say we write if um, age less than 18. We just do a printf. I shouldn't have gotten rid of that, but anyways, let's say I print child here. And what if I just don't write an else, I just write an if again. And what I need to do here now is check that age is greater than or equal to 18, age greater than equal to 18. But at the same time, I also want to enforce that age should be less than 60. And the way I can do that is actually use a logical and. So what I want to write is something like and age is less than 60. But this and right here is not a keyword in C. The way to actually join these two with an and is using a double ampersand here. So this double ampersand actually stands for logical and, which is the kind of and that we would want to join two conditions. So this logical and only returns true if both the conditions that are given to it are true. So it says that this should be true and this should be true. So if age is, let's say, 10, then this part of it becomes false, and hence this entire condition becomes false. And if age is, let's say, 70, then this part of it becomes false, and again the entire statement becomes false. So the only way to make this entire condition true is to use an age which is actually between 18 and 60, so that it satisfies this part and this part, both of them. So here I can just do a printf, and I write adult here, and in the last one I just write if age is greater than 60, printf senior citizen. So let's just go ahead and run this. I'll clear this first, and now let's say I enter once again 20, it says adult, and if I enter 13, it says child. If I enter some 80, it says senior citizen. So as you can see, this works perfectly fine. And you can actually extend this one for all of the cases that I was saying. If I wanted you to print things like infant, child, teenager, young adult, and so on, you could actually use this. This won't be as complicated as putting an if inside an if inside an if. But here again, there's these two conditions that I'm having to put here, and I want to find a way to avoid this, and C actually gives me a very simple way to do this. This time I'm not going to get rid of the first one. um, so what I can do here is I can write an else and immediately follow it with an if, um, and here I can just write age less than 60. And what this else if means now is that this condition uh, is now false. That's the only reason that it came to this else. And but even this else block should only be uh, executed if this condition is true. So that's why we have an if here. um, if you think about it, it's not very different from putting an if inside an if, but this is actually a much more convenient way of doing it. So here I can just do a printf and print adult here, and what I can do now is I can just write an else here, because if it's not less than 18 and it's not less than 60, then obviously it's greater than 60. So I don't need to write an if age greater than 60 here. I can just skip that. And so in this case, control only comes to this else, and by control I mean what statements to be executed. That's what the control means. So it only comes to executing the statements inside this else right here if all of these above have been all of these conditions right here have been false. So that's the only case that it falls to this else right here. So here I can just do a printf senior citizen, and let's just try this. Let me just clear this again, and again I can enter whatever I want. I can enter 18, it says adult. I can enter 16, it says child. I can enter 90, it says senior citizen. So this works perfectly fine, and this is something that you should actually get used to, because in my experience this is one of the most used ways of doing things. This if-else-if ladder. Uh, some people might also call it an elif ladder, um, ELIF, but that's just a way of saying this. What they mean is this thing right here. So I think that should be it for this video. We'll talk about a different kind of ladder in the next video, and I think the next video should wrap up our decision control. So stay tuned for that.